Hey guys, welcome to Sriram's IS. My name is Anshum Verma, and in this video we will be talking about the ongoing wrestlers' protest at Jantar Mantar. Why all these champions of the wrestling world are protesting against the complete Wrestling Federation of India and also against the president of Wrestling Federation, Brij Bhushan Saran Singh. In this video, we will not look into the political aspects. Okay, we will not look into political aspect, as you know that this issue has been highlighted by many opposition parties, and they are protesting and they are supporting these wrestlers for their own vestige interest. Rather, we will see that what are the issues related with the sports in India, and especially what are the issues that women in sports face. So this topic is important for a UPSC aspirant. Okay, so before starting this video, I would like to welcome you all to Sriram's IS. Sriram IS has recently become a channel partner of Unacademy, and we are bringing a quality education at a very affordable rate at Unacademy. Now guys, we have just started with our courses. For UPSC CSC course for 2024, there is a batch that has been launched. So the batch has already started from 13th of April. And then we also have started with our crash course for UPSC 23. With this, all the optionals, all major optionals are also available at Sriram IS. So you can join us using a code Sriram. With this code, you will get a flat 25% off on all courses. Your preparation for UPSC CSC 24, it will include everything: your prelims, your mains, as well as your interview. Okay, your interview preparation. So it is a complete comprehensive preparation. This is me guys, my name is Anshum Verma. This is a brief introduction. I'm a practicing advocate at Delhi High Court, and these are my credentials. I am also mentoring UPSC aspirants now for more than 10 years. Now let's start this video. Now guys, we all know that all these wrestlers are sitting at Jantar Mantar and protesting against the president of Wrestling Federation of India, Brij Bhushan Saran Singh. Now this person has been accused of sexual harassment and also financial misappropriation, okay, handling of funds. Now this protest is led by some prominent figures, none other than Bajrang Punia, Sakshi Malik, Vinesh Fogart. Now these are the champions of the wrestling world in India. Okay, these guys don't need any introduction. Okay, you all know their credentials. And very recently, the Supreme Court of India has directed the Delhi police to register all the FIRs of all the wrestlers who have accused Brij Bhushan Singh of sexual harassment. So the Supreme Court has directed them, and Delhi police has registered 7 different FIRs which against the complaint filed by 7 women from different parts of our country. Now before knowing this issue, you should also know that who is this Brij Bhushan Saran Singh. Now he is a veteran politician and administrator. Not just a veteran politician, he is right now a sitting MP, member of parliament from Lok Sabha and from a constituency Gonda. Okay, he is contesting election as a member of parliament from 1991. Now this was the first time he became a member of parliament. Then in 1999, 2004 and 2009 he represented not Gonda but a different constituency, Balrampur and Kasarganj. Then he has won the Gonda seat and has remained the MP from Gonda continuously from 2014 till now. except in this year, in 2009, he won the seat from Samajwadi Party, again from Uttar Pradesh. Right now, many sources say that this Brij Bhushan Singh has a very strong political hold in his part or in his constituency. So many say it is just the political symbols change, but whosoever Brij Bhushan Singh is representing will win. So that means he has a very strong hold in his constituency. In a very recent affidavit filed in his last election in 2019, he also claimed that he was also part of the Babri Masjid demolition case. So he has been accused of rioting during the Babri Masjid demolition case or the political tussle that has happened during that time. He has been accused in that as well. Along with this, he was also accused of murder and extortions, and he himself admitted one murder publicly on a news interview given to a news channel. Okay, so imagine his strong political hold and how influential this person is. Then coming to the other side of the story, many who supports Brij Bhushan Singh, they claim that why all these protesting wrestlers has never come in public domain before this 2023 issue. So the first time these wrestlers came in protest was in January 23. Okay, at that time they sat again at Jantar Mantar, and many question that why they haven't approached Delhi police to file a FIR. At that time they straight away came and they started their protest at Jantar Mantar against Wrestling Federation of India. Now this is the counter argument. And then even Brij Bhushan Singh says that why these wrestlers kept quiet from past 20 years. Okay, he has been accused of these sexual harassment from quite a long, from 20 years, that why people were never registered any complaint against him. Okay, so this was the issue, and in at this time the sports ministry has formed a committee to review the situation. This committee has to be head by Mary Kom, a person who himself or herself don't need any kind of introduction. This committee was to submit its report in next 2 months. However, there was no such report that has been till now submitted against the Wrestling Federation of India and against Brij Bhushan, and that is why all these Olympic medalists are again sitting in the protest. Moreover, guys, as an administrator, Brij Bhushan Singh has also acted on, or he has chaired many important positions. For example, he is a president of Wrestling Federation of India for quite a long now. He is also held a post of vice president in the Asian Wrestling Federation, and he was also a member of government's mission to Olympic Cell, which targets athletes to target Olympic podium scheme. That means all those potential candidates who can bring medals to India, he was also part of that committee. Now, if we see that what have the wrestlers accused Brij Bhushan of? What are the accusations? So the first accusation is the financial mismanagement and arbitrariness. For example, the students or the UPSC aspirants who are coming from any sports, you know that there is a bit of politics in every sports, whether it be cricket, whether it be other sports. There is a huge level of politics that are involved. So this is a fact in of sports in India. So again, all these things are also seen in wrestling and the Wrestling Federation. So there is lot of financial mismanagement and arbitrariness. Then also the issue is related with sponsorships. So many wrestlers accuse that Brij Bhushan Singh directly asked a cut in the sponsorship given by the companies, given by the news channel, media channel, or whatever the kind of financial help that these wrestlers get. Brij Bhushan Singh seeks a cut in that. So these are some accusations. Also, one of the gravest accusation against him is of sexual harassment. So he has been accused of harassing many women athletes from 2012 to till now 2022, till the end of 2022, and all these harassment has happened at his official residence in New Delhi itself. So imagine the depth or the allegations are such a strong allegations against him. And in one of the complaint which is very recently submitted in Supreme Court, one accusation has been done by or has been claimed by a minor as well. So he has been accusing of harassing minors as well. Now guys, coming out of the politics related with the issue, let us see that what all different problems that the sportswomen in our country face. Now this is important for your social issues from GS2 and some part of GS3, and also you can include this topic in role of women. Okay, if anything comes related to women in mains, you can use this article or the points that are highlighted in this video. So what are the problems? The first is the financial problem. Now guys, there is a intra sports issue and there is a inter sport issue. You have to understand this. Now first of all, we all know that in our sport industry there is a disparity between different sports. For example, cricket is most loved sports in India, so it will get all the major attention of the crowd and it will get all the financial allocation it needs. So cricket is very well supported. But what about the other sports? Then this is what we can say, that there is an intra-sport financial allocation. Then within a sport, there is a financial misallocations when it comes to women or when it comes to men. So we all know generally men athletes are still preferred over women athletes. Like the men's cricket is preferred over the women's cricket. I don't think that there is a viewership of the women's cricket. For example, how many of you are watching or you have watched the IPL women, the IPL that has happened for women? There is a very less viewership. So imagine the same case with the wrestling world, the wrestling world, and there is again a comparison with men performing in wrestling and the women performing in wrestling. So the women, obviously they lack the amount of funds which men athletes are getting. Then there is an issue of sexism. Okay, the sexism, how we know that the society is so patriarchy. इतना सारा patriarchy है हमारे society में, and the women are judged by the way they dress. For example, especially sports like wrestling, the women has to wear a tight body wear. Now this is the part of their profession. So they are at times judged by the way they dress and the way they speak. This is again a societal problem. Then we also have a gender parity. Now, for example, the women's effort to advocate for their social rights, they do not receive the same level of respect or recognition on professional fronts. Imagine, or for example, can you name any famous women cricketer from Indian cricket? How many of you can name how many cricketers? So at max you can name 5 of them. ठीक है, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा आप 5 women cricketers के नाम बता पाओगे. And if I ask you the same thing, that how many men cricketers you know. Just name the famous men cricketers you know. The list is very long. You know a good number of male cricketers in comparison to women. So this is a very general issue. Again, this applies for wrestling as well. So the woman is not able to represent, or they do not receive the same level of respect, recognition that a men athlete will get in the sports industry. This is the third issue. Then accessibility. With accessibility, I mean infrastructure, or the availability of good training, availability of good gymnasium, availability of good mats. Okay, for example, if you have watched that movie Dangal, now you see that the wrestling is of different kind. Generally, all these wrestlers, they start at a very micro level, at a very local level. They start playing and practicing in mud, जिसे हम देसी कुश्ती भी कहते हैं. But at international front, the game is on synthetic mats, and you know the transition. You are a master in playing in mud, but you cannot become a master, or you cannot deliver the same level on a synthetic mat. Now this is a major issue or infrastructure issue that sports have. And when I talk about infrastructure for women, again there is a huge gap here. So all the schools, colleges, they do not maintain, and if I talk about the government schools and government colleges, they do not maintain their infrastructure at all. We all know, and there is no parity there. Okay, even men's and the kids don't get enough space. So generally they have to practice. If they are interested in the profession, they have to visit special dedicated stadiums, or they have to take private coachings or private academies which have a good fee associated with it. Okay, not everyone can afford that fee. So they lack adequate playing facility, and then good infrastructure and quality infrastructure that doesn't exist. Then women in India also faces safety issues. For example, we can imagine a woman in any sports in India from Haryana can have a better accessibility to reach the training centers. Okay, in comparison to, now it is relative, in comparison to a woman from Manipur. So if you know, or if you have read or know about the biography of Mary Kom, you will realize that what kind of severe problem that the women in our country faces. Okay, especially their training centers are generally miles away. So this is another hindrance that why the women in our country is not growing in sports. And the data says that 48% of the female athletes travel over 10 kilometers to reach a practice facility. Now guys, over 10 kilometers. Generally, these sports camps or the training camps, they last for, or they starts in the evening time, and by the time this camp ends, it is very late at night. So many parents, they hesitate to send their girls to practice. Now this is again a hindrance which stop the women entering sports. Moving on, there are some social attributes as well. For example, discrimination perceived against their sexual orientation. Like for example, are you aware of the case of Dati Chand as a case study? Now Dati Chand was she is rather a very prominent athlete who has represented India and at many international forums. However, she has been accused of not being a woman, or in other words, there were more testosterone hormones which were found in her body, and it was not as per the international standards. So all these issues related to the sexual orientation also act as a as a deterrent. For example, all these women or girls, the young girls who start their practice, like you have seen in Dangal, all those who have just started their practice, they go through bullying, they go through social isolation, nobody talks to them, nobody wants to play with them, and then they all the friends, circle, society, they try to humiliate them, they try to discriminate them, and so much so that many outrageous comments have been passed on them, claiming them to be gay. इस तरह की चीजें भी it is very common. So these are the social issues. Then decreased quality training. So women get less avenues in comparison to the men. Or if I say, if they started nurturing them from the start, okay, from a very young stage, so girls, they never get women coaches. Now one reason is that there is no woman who is representing India or who have represented India at a very big level. So this further acted as a deterrent. So there is no motivation among the girls who can see any woman as their idol. So this problem is there. Then when you don't have success coming out of women sports in India, you won't find many experienced candidates who can train these young girls. So this cycle will continue. Okay, so generally the women are, or the girls are trained with all the regular male coaches, and there is no special funds or no special training which happens for all these girls separately. Okay, or if there are in some sports there are some women coaches, but again their availability, their number has reduced to at a very small level. For example, if there is a woman coach available in Haryana, how she can train some athletes from representing girls from different states? For example, a girl from Kerala. Now this gets very difficult. So this is another issue with sportswomen in India. And then obviously the fourth pillar of democracy does not play their role as well, the media coverage. We all know this is a major issue, the pay disparity. Okay, the pay disparity. For example, many feminist groups across the world, they raise this issue that why the men is paid more in sports than women. Now this is something which is against the constitutional values. Okay, but the counterpart of this is there are many such sectors where the woman is paid more than the men. For example, the modeling industry, the women get more financial resources than men. So basically it has an argument and a counter argument. So it is on which side you want to stay, or what are your perspective. Like I would like to quote here, the Australian Cricket Commission has made this in public that they will pay equal to men and women. Like the women representing Australian cricket will get the same salary as the men will get. Now this is the financial allocation part. Now coming to the media coverage. Now we all know that the broadcasting right of IPL which is going on is so much high. For example, just a week back there is a record that has broken. If I rightly remember, 20 crore people were watching a live match. Now have you seen the same thing with a women match? Now the reason is again less media coverage. You won't find all the national media channels highlighting this women or a women coverage or a special dedicated sports coverage happening for a women's match. This is one issue. Then another issue that the sportswomen in India faces is the pregnancy and the maternity related issue. We all know that all these athletes, once they enter the second phase of their life, that means they get married at the time practicing their sports. Okay, when they get married, they faces issues or their career takes a halt when they acquires the motherhood, or when they maybe wants to take a break because of the marriage. So there is generally a gap that is witnessed in the careers of a woman. You can quote Sania Mirza as example. Sania Mirza, have you seen her performing before her marriage and after her marriage? I'm not saying that the marriage is responsible for her falling performance, but obviously for but obvious reasons, her performance has it has her career has taken a setback. Okay, she couldn't represent herself during her time of maternity. She has came back. She has competed in some of the tournaments and got a little success there as well. But again, it was not it was not that big. So this is something, a natural issue which is linked with specifically women. On the other hand, a man who is involved in the societal marriages or in the paternity, they do not suffer that much. For example, all the sports cricketers, the men in India, they are married, they are happily married, they have their kids. However, that hasn't impacted their careers. So this is one issue. Then guys, the next is why more female participation in sports are important. Let us understand why there is a need to have women included in sports. So first is that the sports brings a very positive impact irrespective of the gender. It is very important for maintaining the physical and the mental health. Okay, now girls active in sport during adolescence and the young age, they are 20% less likely to get all these diseases like breast cancer later in their life. So we all know exercise is very important for your mental growth as well as your physical growth. So this is one aspect. That is why sports is needed for them. Then obviously, to have that gender parity, we have a SDG goal of gender parity or gender equality. Okay, for empowering all women and girls. It is a goal 5. India has committed to SDGs. So inclusion of women in sports will encourage a balance, a participation to promote gender equality. Okay, also it will help to break down the barriers and the stereotypes that will limit women's potential. For example, we all know how Mary Kom has performed, how different athletes of different time, PT Usha, Mithali Raj, Jhulan Goswami, all these famous sports women in India has broken the barriers, the stereotypes in the society has come up and outshine in the sports. Then also the sports will bring them economic empowerment. Okay, the sports will bring them economic empowerment. So the women who participates in sports will have more opportunities for education, for employment. For example, they can be easily recruited as PT teachers or the coaches. So don't you think there is more economic opportunity for them, right? Then social empowerment. Obviously, we have highlighted this issue earlier, that their inclusion will try to change the societal values slowly. Their contribution towards society will also increase. It will have a positive impact, or it will rather break the vicious circle. It will motivate the other women and girls also to excel in sports. Like you have seen, there are many young girls after Sakshi Malik winning the gold medal, winning the medal for India in Olympics, Vinesh Fogart winning a medal in the World Wrestling Championship. All these women have become a idol for the girls in the village, for the young girls in the cities or different parts of India. So they now see them as idol. So this is what social empowerment will be brought in. with inclusion of women in sports. And then obviously better representation. When you have more women coming up, you will find more leadership roles will also be generated for them, like for coaching industry, for administration. Like one such example that you quote, that for this case only of sexual harassment, we have made a woman as a head of the chairman committee. Like Mary Kom has become the chairman of the committee which is investigating into these issues. So I understanding the game here. And then obviously overall this will also help in building the capacity. Overall capacity building, it will help. It will promote greater participation in sports among the women. It will help to bring stronger and more inclusive communities, right? Let us now see that what are the safeguards or the measures which are available for sexual harassment in our country. Now all these acts are important. I want you to read about all these acts. Just pausing this video in this video itself, just have a quick look that what all acts or what all specific acts all these sexual harassment acts they offer, how they are different. So for example, there was a Vishakha case, Vishakha and others versus state of Rajasthan, a very prominent case which led to Vishakha guidelines, and this is basically POSH, which protects the women from sexual harassment at any workplace. Then we have a sexual harassment electronic box, SHE-Box. Now this is a one-time portal or a one-place portal for all sexual harassment claims. Then we also have a National Commission for Women. And then to protect the minors against any sexual offences, we have the POSCO Act as well. And all these are clubbed under Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act, which was the result of this judgment only. It prevents sexual harassment at workplaces and protection of women from sexual harassment. A general protection is there. So all these acts in our country, they govern any kind of harassment, sexual in nature, against the women. All these acts are important. You should have a quick reference of all these acts, and you can also add them in your answers. Then in conclusion, what we can say, or what is the conclusion of this issue, that we all know that women's participation in sports has been low in the past because of the various reasons we have seen in this video, right? But we need many efforts so that we can promote and encourage women's participation in sports, right? For example, increasing fundings, breaking the societal values, encouraging girls to participate in sports from the young age itself, to bring or to break those societal barriers. Okay, so in order to break that or to bring that gender parity, we need women to represent India at all international forums. Okay, and then also there are some efforts which are required in developing infrastructure for women, then identifying them at young age, like what China is doing. China, and if you see the women participation in sports, from China, it is way too high than in India. So you will see what is the difference. They identify that talent at a very young age. Now this India can also learn. Okay, then organizing regular sports events. Now this generally we have, and generating awareness at the grassroots level. All these things will in a way increase women's participation in sports in India. So I hope you all like this video. If you want the PDF of this video, you can find it at my Telegram channel, which is Anshum UPSC and Beyond. Search for this channel on your Telegram. You will get the PDF of this video there, and all related information related to my upcoming videos you can get there at this channel. I also request that if you loved the content that I had delivered in this video, I would request you to push the like button, and you can also share this with your other friends and any other UPSC aspirant or any other individual who want to understand the women's participation of sports in India. Thank you very much. See you next time.